Welcome to another video from Tutorial. In today's lecture, we will discuss about cephalosporins. So let's get started. Cephalosporins are beta-lactam antibiotics. They have a beta-lactam ring, dihydrothiosin ring and an acetyl side chain. They are from fungal origin. Later on, semi-synthetic and synthetic forms were developed. The mechanism of action is similar to that of penicillin, that is, they are cell wall synthesis inhibitors, and so they are bactericidal in action. The mechanism of resistance mode is same as that of penicillin, which we have discussed in our earlier video. Now let's look at the different generations of cephalosporins. There are first, second, third, fourth and fifth generations. The first generation drugs will have PHA, FA or PHRA in their names except cefaclor, which is in second generation. Now the third generation drugs have IME, ONE, 10 and IR in their names except cefuroxime, which is in the second generation. The drugs which have PI in their names are the fourth generation and the INE from the fifth generation. Now coming to some examples from the first generation, which include the cefazolin, which is parenteral, cefalexin and cefradin. Second generation include cefaclor, cefuroxime, cefotitan, which is parenteral, and cefprozil. From the third generation, the most important one is the ceftriaxone. It also includes the cefotaxime, cefixime, then cefdinir, etc. Now the fourth generation, we will see the cefepime and cefpiron. The fifth generation is exclusively parenteral, that is, which include ceftaroline and ceftobiprole. Now coming to their action, that is against which bacteria they are used. As per the general rule, just remember that the gram-positive activity will decrease as we go from the first to the fifth, while the gram-negative activity will increase as we go from the first to fifth. So first generation will have immense gram-positive activity and some gram-negative activity, and activity against anaerobes except B. fragilis. The second generation will have gram positive and negative, but the gram negative is increasing and anaerobes except B. fragilis. The third generation is one of the broad spectrum. It has greatest activity against the gram negative, both Cocci and Rhodes, and also against gram positive and anaerobes including the B. fragilis. The fourth generation will have the same effect as that of the third, but they do not have activity against B. fragilis. Finally, the fifth generations are most commonly used against the common mutations in the penicillin binding proteins in MRSA cases. Now let's see whether they have the ability to cross the blood-brain barrier or not. The first generation generally do not cross the blood-brain barrier, while the third generation do cross the blood-brain barrier. About the second generation, they do not cross blood-brain barrier except the cefuroxime. Among the first generation, cefaxolin has a longer half-life and can be used for surgical prophylaxis. The first generations are not resistant to beta-lactamases produced by the bacteria. Among the second generation, cefuroxime will cross the blood-brain barrier, so it can be used in meningitis, and resistance shown to beta-lactamases are only cefuroxime and cefoxitin. The third generation can be used to treat gram-negative infections, and most of them are resistant to beta-lactamases except cefoperazone. The fourth and the fifth generations are also resistant to beta-lactamases. Now about the pharmacokinetics. Most of these cephalosporins are water soluble and are excreted by kidney through tubular secretion. except ceftriaxone and cefoperazone, which is secreted in bile. As these agents are excreted by tubular secretion, when we co-administer this drug simultaneously with the probenecid, it can be blocked by competing with probenecid, and probenecid wins, and the therapeutic concentration and the plasma half-life concentration will be increased. Now the dose of this ceftriaxone and cefoperazone need to be adjusted in hepatic dysfunction. As these drugs are highly lipid soluble, we might expect them to cross the blood-brain barrier and help in meningitis, but that is not the case with this drug, because the reason is that it is very lipid soluble, so it will have a very high plasma protein binding, and it will have a decreased free fraction available to cross the blood-brain barrier. So, cefoperazone cannot be used in the treatment of meningitis. Now, let's discuss about the side effects of cephalosporins. First one is the hypersensitivity reaction. This is because the cephalosporins are originated from the fungi and also have a sulfur group. This hypersensitivity reaction can be of two types. One is partial and the other is complete. If a patient is allergic to penicillin, there is a partial chance that the patient will be allergic to cephalosporins as well. And if a patient is allergic to one type of cephalosporin, then there is complete allergenicity to other type as well. Now the second side effect is the disulfiram-like action. Two of the cephalosporins, that is the cefiperazone and the cefetidan, have a disulfiram-like action and thus will cause intolerance to alcohol. The next side effect is the GI disturbances and diarrhea. Both cephalosporins and penicillin can cause the body to form antibodies against RBC by adhering to the cell membrane of the RBC. So, they will have a positive Coombs test but rarely a hemolytic anemia. This Coombs test is the blood test to check if the RBC have antibodies attached to them. This cephalosporins and penicillins are found to show positive Coombs test. Lastly, there can be severe bleeding, and this can be due to hypoprothrombemia, then thrombocytopenia and platelet dysfunction.